Na 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 na. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me what? Reset. Start. Close. Okay. So okay. I think I didn't put any particular apple, so that might be quite a problem. Also, hi, Gadara. Welcome. Uh, we are quite early today, so I think yeah we have some time. I sadly I will I will go take a second because I want to mostly try and see if I have something to eat before being here. So give me some minutes. Let's see. Let me see what's happening. I'll be back in like I don't know 5 minutes probably or so. That we can continue setting up everything else. I guess I can close this. Anyways, yeah, back in like 5. Yo. I am also back. Welcome. So I think I guess you meant something like if if it was infinite bacon or no games or infinite games and no bacon because in the second one you repeated games. But yeah, I if I had to be real, I don't really eat bacon personally, so I will choose always in at the very least with those options something like games. I guess so, but I mean the reality also depends on what we are trying to define as um, not just necessary, but rather uh, impending things, let's say like that. So it all really, once again, depends. I don't know. I will be honest with you and say that more often than not, what matters is um, not just having an infinite amount of video games. Eh? You asked correctly. Eh? I, what? I, I, I can't. It exceeds my understanding what you're saying. Then that's what I can say. I mean, if there is an infinite amount of nothing, it is still nothing. Even if it is infinite, it represents still nothing. So I wouldn't choose nothing. I guess I wouldn't prefer to have nothing on my life. I see it as quite a good argument. I don't I don't believe there is anything to gain from having nothing at all. So that is quite literally the main reason as to why I wouldn't have nothing. I guess, but yeah, quite. Am I incapable of understanding what you said? Yeah, I wouldn't really choose then that. And any of those, or well, if I was forced to choose, I guess. Um, I mean, how can you even reason that question? Like, what's what's the argument here? Like, I was saying that basically you get to have infinite bacon, but no games, or infinite. I mean, I okay. I think I have a proper response. Welcome back. I think I have a proper response. If I had to choose anything, I will go with infinite bacon. Because if the other option is always something that ends up leading towards having nothing, because even if you have infinite amount of games, you still have no games, um, it means that what you chose was basically return to zero, or yeah, have. Well, I guess so. Obviously, if you base it on this reality, you will even lose games themselves because you already chose to not have them. So there is there is only one proper option. That is the bacon. Uh, but like, how is it that you have infinite amount of games before no games? Like, you can experience an infinite amount of games also. It all depends. I mean, I guess in that I can see it. I can see it. I can quite envision what you are asking. It is still a little bit hard for me to properly picture, I guess. But yeah, if you had the chance of infinitely spending a non-existing amount of time, let's say, or the what's it called, the infinite amount of time that resides between 1 second and the next one, playing all the different games that might ever exist before getting rid of all the games in the plane of existence in which you chose that option, something like that will make sense because you get to once again feel that much enjoyment. But I don't know, I guess if you have infinite bacon, you can always have bacon. You know, it isn't like you're. Yeah, yeah. I guess always that's the best. That's the way. way to see that question. You don't really get to know what's their proper response in this case, unless you choose it. You choose it, but yeah, just in the possibility of it being probably something that will end up making you lose, I wouldn't go with infinite games. I will still choose infinite bacon. I mean, obviously there is a sense of ego in that response, but it will be nice to have the opportunity of solving problems like world hunger, even if it is through bacon, after all. So I will choose infinite bacon. I I will not see the value of something that might be fully personal to a certain extent in my case, but yeah, I can I can pretty much reason a little bit still with what you are. What is the other idea? I mean, after all, you might get the chance of experiencing something quite nice if you open yourself to the possibility of experiencing something that will. Well, I mean, you don't really get to even know how it will really happen. So I don't know. It is pure theory in that sense. But yeah, but I will still choose bacon over anything else. I guess I no I it is complex, but yeah. I can I can make a decision, and with that I am happy. I feel like I can go to sleep knowing that I made a decision that brings me happiness. So that's enough for me, I guess. Um, but yeah, uh, yet again, I have troubles picturing the second option. I don't know. I can see how you can gamble a lot of stuff on it, but maybe it can't really happen. And I don't know. I I see it quite a dangerous task to choose. Let's say like that. But anyways. Moving on. Let me close all of this. Let me. Do I have anything else that I can close? Not yet. But I am slowly shortening the amount of tabs that I have open, so that's quite nice. Let me abandon that. Let me come over. Huh? Let me. Did I drop thing here? No, I didn't. Nice. Uh, Also, no. Sabes, back. And I even missed that. No. Anyways, yeah. So that's that. Well, I think I am quite done. So far, we have. Okay. As always, if I have some free time, let me try to make something up over here. Any idea? I think something like this. Um, Something like that, I guess. Quite nonsensical, but it's something. And with that, I am happy. Schedule for when? when should I have scheduled this? So, okay. Uh, 3-0. Okay, there it is. I finish. We are ready to start. Huh? Perfect. So we have 6 seconds more. 5, 4, 3. Wait! I didn't choose the proper. No! I forgot to choose the proper. There it is. The proper scene. And we also have the riff activated from last time because I forgot to turn that off. Nice. Sorry. Sorry. Let me do that. And there it is now. Everything is back to normal. And yeah. Oh man. So, welcome everybody. It seems we have the capacity of being here yet another time. Today, after after keeping the consistency up, something very enjoyable I see. And yeah, I don't really know what more to really say in that sense. It is a pleasure to be here. That's always the main premise here. So welcome, welcome. Please have a nice day. And as always, thanks for everything. Thanks for being here, for lurking, thanks for watching the VOD, thanks viewers, thanks to in particular. We have our first chatter being Abracadabra, Alakazam. So yeah, here we are. Basically, now for real, starting with this after those. So, I wouldn't know if they are required or not. I just like to take them 15 minutes to warm up, kind of, something like that. So yeah, here we are. Uh, okay, yeah, I had to change this. Give me a second. This is something that I forgot. Wow. Okay, there it is. Now for real, we have that introduced into screen. So now somehow we have quite a little bit of um, knowledge about what is going to happen in the upcoming hour. I guess, yeah, I don't normally use them, mostly because I am ESL, so I learned an English in which it is quite common for people to use um, those more what is it, socially unacceptable type of swear words. So those one in particular, I have a hard time. Yeah, in general, I have a hard time using swear words because my mind itself was wired towards not seeing the bias towards avoiding even mentioning them. But yeah, I do not here, mostly because also I am not in any particular scenario in which I need to use them. I I have not this theory, it is already proven. I have this knowledge about what is this whole concept of what commonly happens is you use swear words when you are trying always to communicate different type of emotions related to a state of alarm or different types of threats. And certainly here, I don't feel almost never any type of problem. So by itself, it is already quite complex for me to, out of nowhere, swear. But yeah, I do sometimes sleep them. I mean, after all, I have always I think the most common one and the most unavoidable one to use is, in my case, fuck, because it is very much integrated with what I tends to say. Even in Spanish itself, I also use it quite a little bit. So when it sleeps, I don't even notice. But the rest of the other words, I try my best to not say them, or not to not say them. I try to not even think about them, just to keep my mind on the matters at hand a little bit better, let's say. But yeah. Um, I am not incapable of swearing, or I don't see a problem with swearing. I just personally don't do it that much, and that's something quite funny because also we even have the tag of +18, and one of the different uh, quote unquote benefits is that you certainly can swear almost without um, filters when it comes to the amount of swearing. Obviously, not to the particular swear words, but to the amount of swearing that you can do. And it does happen that when I am in those, yeah, when we are here, I don't use or make usage of that advantage in particular. And I don't know. I believe a lot of people seems to be in one way or another interested in that. Particularly, I don't think at the very least in my case it does have any particular benefit for the different arguments that I might try to make when it comes to talking and such. So I don't really swear personally in terms of that. I see the benefits. I don't make usage of them. I I don't see them as necessary here. But I don't know. I don't know. I It can happen out of nowhere. I can, without thinking about it, let something come out of my mouth, let's say. But yeah, I think it is pretty normal, pretty average for almost everybody, no? To a certain extent, you never notice that they, let's say, these things exist inside of you. But I I don't know. It is quite it is quite complex. Let's leave it at that. It is quite complex, and not everybody has the possibility of always paying attention. So yeah. Um, anyways, I guess. Anyways. Um, I was I was thinking. Um, I haven't really paid attention, particularly to which ideas I had lately. After getting back into the old formula, it has become a lot more itself free from what we end up talking about here. So it ends up being quite crazy to see or to notice that we can go over almost anything without a proper structure on this first very unorganized hour. So it is quite good to sense how all of that, once again, formless um, way of talking feels. And I don't mean it as a problem itself. I have pretty much observed how good it can be to try and always keep a certain type of list when it comes to organizing yourself towards doing the best that you can for the sake of avoiding having later on problems with the process itself of um, explaining what you have inside of you in terms of mental, yeah, mental images that end up coming out as sentences, let's say. And I don't know. Here, after a little bit of doing it with a lot more of pre-established ideas, which I wanted to talk about in earlier occasions, now it's just it has become, let's say like this, um, for me, something that I do without really thinking. Like, I quite, I, I, I think there are other ways to picture this, but still, I quite just say whatever happens to pass through my mind at the moment, and from that we go on. And that is quite nice. I say all of this because I had been observing and had been trying to organize this idea itself. I don't get so far how it all works in terms of trying to see or trying to keep yourself in order in terms of mm, having a complete list of things. Personally, I have heard a lot of times it was quite necessary for anybody to have them, while at the same time being true that when you are doing this, you feel pretty much almost every single occasion how the free-form version of just talking is the most rewarding type of um, not the most rewarding, just the most, yeah, the least complex one to go with. And to have that consistently happening throughout life feels quite nice. And I don't I don't see it as that always. Um, but I mention all of this because I don't know. Okay. I have to accept this. I don't know how much if is completely true and how much is just a justification picked up from something that I heard from a sign, yeah, from a proofless um, source of knowledge. But somebody said that supposedly when you let yourself go from whatever it is that you have in your mind ready, you are directing yourself or you are using the resources that you had at hand the easiest to grab. Therefore, you end up creating with that whatever ends up being the most comprehensible thing possible to come up with without having to involve so much planning, because all of that is already being or already even was filled by your unconscious mind. And by doing such things, in this case discussing stuff without so much of a projection itself onto any of these ideas, one might say this seems to be quite comprehensible. At the very least, in this case, I can say it for me. I do accept that maybe somebody else might have quite a hard time getting what we are even trying to go for, because let me tell this. I noticed that I never hit that it ends up being quite easy at the very least for oneself to try and not occupy yourself so much with other notions, as in maybe what I am trying to say seems to be so hard to get. It for oneself, once again, it feels like it has an structure and it is quite easy to follow. But I don't know how much of that process ends up being useful for others. And that is where I question really how much of that intention of just communicating what you were capable of coming up with, yeah, by yourself was good. The rest of the things might seem quite beneficial to have, but I believe so that the main problem in all of these things also end up being quite hidden behind not only what you are doing needs to be understandable for you, but also it has the necessity of being understandable by others around you. After all, once again, we don't live in an empty society where the only important human beings are ourselves. Other things also should try to allow, or let's say, speech for the sake of keeping it clear and keeping it understandable for whoever wants to have it as, yeah, something to digest. So if you follow what you know the best, you might be dealing with a lot of concepts that are inside of only your own mind, or not only your own mind, as if you were somehow now capable of coming up with completely abstract forms of rationality that nobody else has still arrived to, but rather you come up to better theories of understanding and comprehensions about certain types of reality that nobody else has gotten to when you compare them to what you in particular possess. So that's why, in this case, it ends up being quite an observational, potent thing to do, to ask if all of this might really be something that can be avoided or something that can be used in a useful manner. Let's say like that. But I don't know. I have been quite thinking about it, and so far I haven't really found a way to see which one of them is the best. I also have, because I mentioned this before even, I also have this one notion inside of me that is sometimes what is important is also the unfiltered version of the ideas that you possess, even more if you are doing something creative, because your creativity itself is manifested the best through the unfiltered versions of what you're capable of coming up with. So, if by deciding to follow a more patterned version, sorry, by deciding to follow a more patterned version of your own self, you end up robbing out of yourself, in this case, the opportunity of coming up with something more beautiful that might be truly not so easy to get by others, but at the very least, that for yourself will be worth it. The discussion ends up being, in that case, if it can truly be considered good or bad to try and not give yourself the chance of experiencing the enjoyment born out of, let's say, avoiding just the most simple type of temptations, I guess. And I, I don't know. I have been thinking about it. I can't fully get to a proper conclusion. I have still to keep analyzing such an idea. That's what I can really say thus far. I I had this one new idea to try and contradict what was said before, basically. And here we are, standing just in the beginning of a proper argument between what I already knew or what I already had formulated and what ends up being also a more advanced, not advanced, a more schematical way of seeing the process of thinking and also the process of communicating yourself with others. Because it isn't only necessary for you to communicate, but also it is necessary for you to facilitate the understanding of your communication methods to others. That is when it gets truly useful. If you are forgetting that you also should try your best to make it understandable for everybody, what you end up doing is you obfuscate what might be understandable, and by doing so, you remove out of the people the chance of reaching points of agreement with you, because what is necessary and what should be primordial for you always is, or always should be at the very least, the capacity to deal with more observable problems and not so hazardous ideas. Let's say like that, but I don't know. I have been simply trying to think about it. I haven't yet reached a proper point of understanding, or was it? Well, okay, I think the proper description was something like, I haven't found piece of insight in all of this that can fully translate this idea yet. And I don't know. I have been still thinking about this also, this moving on to something different, or, well, give me a second, because I want to drink water also. I want to drink water, so before moving on to something different, let me do that. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Here it is. Now for real. After having drunk a little bit of H2O, I was thinking particularly about this whole notion that is how much you can really not just say, but rather enjoy the act itself of trying to be immersed in your own ideas, not because it is an obligation for you, but rather because by doing so, what you end up gaining is the possibility, let's say, of understanding what plagues your conscious mind. And there is something in all of that that has been quite annoying me, and that is I understand the point, I understand the main idea, but at the same time, I don't really like how annoying it ends up being. Let's say that some things inside of you, when you fully understand them, disappear from your conscious mind. I have, and that is the biggest problem of all of this. You have a lot of ideas that keep always wandering inside of your head, and that you always tend to go and try to analyze in some way or another. But the problem is, when you reach a point of understanding, it unavoidably happens that out of nowhere, it leaves your mind. And I, I, I can see in a lot of ways how, in the practical sense, it is good to not have to think anymore about such things. I mean, something that has been, for example, that I can properly cite, something that plagued my mind before was the ideas related to how different types of mathematical equations worked when I was going to school and I had to utilize them because at that time I wasn't even capable of picturing how hey, yeah, they made any type of sense. But later on, once I got to figure out how they were used, in which situations, and the proper visualization of how all of that process was made, I never in my whole life after that even thought about using them. And this doesn't simply go from something like a multiplication or the different uh, addition and removal of stuff. It goes to a little bit higher concepts. I mean, I was, for example, today, I was seeing a guy that was talking about how we use a lot of Pythagorean mathematical formulas because in our life, a lot of principles from that still apply in our lives. And I have never used those concepts after I left them. Yeah, the period in which I learned about them, let's say. I don't remember exactly when, but I never thought about them. And it was weird to pull up such a notion and find out that I did get what they were talking about. I never in my whole life almost had thought about them. So it was quite a shocking, almost revelation itself to see that they had those knowledges. And I don't say it just as a wow, I was capable of understanding it, and now I can still get it. No, it is like okay. I was going to ask why would it be necessary for the mind to not do it, but I think an explanation is pretty easy to get. You wouldn't want to have your mind flooded with all the ideas that you already get. You don't need to have them always present inside of you. The reality is you only need to pull up whatever it is that you have been thinking about in the moment, because in a very linear way, the mind always focuses on similar topics related all to one another. And if you are focused on something, when you possess the capacity of rationality, it is because you have some sense of interest over that that leads you to believe that they are important to keep in mind, let's say. So you are not going to have any use for something that is fully unrelated to your present moment therefore you have to discard it. In I know that there is a limit. I mean, I don't properly see what is mine in that sense, but I am capable of accepting that there is a limit and that there is something very observable along the lines of I don't need to be so immersed or so lost inside of all the different notions that I am talking about right now. For example, let's keep it clean right now. So I I need to only have in hand what is necessary for me to continue talking. I don't need to have tools that have nothing to deal with the present point. I mean, even if it, I don't, okay, I am doing too much theory. I am losing my mind a little bit there, but I will say that even if it was possible to hold all of the different knowledges that you ever had in your life all at once, always present in your consciousness, even if you had that capacity, it will be a pain because you will have to always scroll throughout all the different knowledges that you possess to see which one connects with what you want to keep talking about or with what you are willing to talk about next or what is necessary for you to keep talking about what you mentioned before. And whichever one of those three realities you have decided to go for ends up being quite challenging for you to keep clean. So, if by itself the mind had already those tools built inside of it to not have you yourself as the, let's say, as the human who is thinking, lose time trying to see which concepts are related and only keeping, once again, what has been the most recent ideas, by doing that, you gain the gift, let's say, of continuing a lot faster whatever it is that you have been talking about before with a lot more swiftness than if you were to only, let's say, move forward and, yeah, very much go crazy in all of that. My man, I don't know. At the same time, I can see a lot of these ideas are quite complex, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I can move pretty forward for from there, I guess. So yeah. Anyways, I think I understood a little bit what I had in mind. So yeah, I don't I don't really need to really say anymore. I think I somehow understood a little bit of that. I guess somehow. Um, but yeah, nice. I guess finally a moment of insight. But well, yeah. This can this can move into something different that I was also literally today thinking about. But yeah, give me a second. Let me drink proper water before me we move into something else. Um, Amazing thinking. What a weird process. But yeah, so what I said that was quite related was the fact that yeah, today also I learned about this whole thing of you should try to give yourself some time to think about different things that are present in your mind. And I didn't pay that much attention to that idea before until I realized. let's say like this, until I started to try and realize, not that I fully realize, I wish I had the capacity of fully realizing stuff. I tried to realize, and so far I believe I have started to have some type of notion. I haven't really gotten any of that sort fully. I have just started to develop a minimal understanding of that. So yeah, what I was saying was, um, I minimally started to observe that it is quite necessary for you to have those times that are called down times, in which you just connect things one with the others so that you can keep moving forward, let's say, and keep making sense out of the puzzle that is, once again, all of those ideas that remain inside of you. So, in this whole logical process that is thinking and organizing the world of ideas that is present inside of your own mind, so that you can keep making sense out of the world. If you don't give yourself the chance of doing such a thing and stopping, observing, processing, breaking apart, and probably also even condensing what you already knew into an even better version of furthermore better concepts for yourself, it will be quite impossible because it all ends up reflecting into what I mentioned before. You can't have a lot of things that are always floating around you. You're only by avoiding those downtimes, you're avoiding giving those to yourself those opportunities to liberate from your mind all of the things that are cluttering your consciousness. So, okay, yeah, I think that is quite a very good self-centered, I guess, explanation as to why breaks now are so necessary. And probably something like that, I guess. I it happens finally. Yeah, yeah. Reaching some type of conclusion after trying to observe it for so long. Oh man, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah. Basically, that's the explanation. If if you can make sense out of what is already inside of you, you can move with with a lot of easier times in your own life, let's say. So, by accepting that it is necessary to connect everything inside of you, you realize that it is not a downtime, but rather a time of productivity inside of you itself. The same idea that is also applied to those who are trying to give themselves a better sleeping schedule, because the main reality is you shouldn't in any way um, avoid having a proper sleeping schedule. You are quite literally almost killing yourself by doing such a thing. So, if you can, okay, if you can figure out how useful it ends up being for you, um, and you can even more give yourself the chance of experiencing the benefits gained from resting, you will see that it is not a loss of time. It is rather an investment made for you to keep going. The same thing in this case, in which even by, yeah, even while being conscious, you start to organize and to declutter, once again, all of those things that occupy your time of consciousness while you're being alive, let's say. Because I will guess, um, what happens is when you are sleeping, it does happen more along the lines of the unconscious mind that you declutter, reclassify, and reorder what you already knew for that to make sense on one hand. On the other, when you do it while being conscious, it just happens once again repeating myself on the conscious mind. So it is quite unavoidable for you to try and seek out those moments once again if you want to experience some kind of gain from doing such things. And there is no obligation for you to do it, but also, I mean, I will believe there is no obligation for anybody to do anything. In that sense, you you can always only do what you feel like doing. And if you can make sense out of a tool that ends up aiding you towards the objective of living an easier or a more comprehensible life than what was your previous or past self, you might realize why it is necessary for you instead of just saying, wow, it is quite useful. But I don't know. It was quite overwhelming also. I won't lie, I won't lie. It was quite overwhelming to out of nowhere make sense out of like five different ideas that I had lying around as I mentioned before. So yeah. Um, we're thinking a little bit here. Let's say like that. Let's leave it at that here just for now. But yeah, nice. I guess. Yeah, my mind is going like at 50 kilometers per hour, something like that. Give me a second. I need to. Okay, okay. Let's do the easiest thing. Let me drink water. Okay. Oh, I think I think certainly yes, I think. But quite crazy to see once again, or doing a meta-analysis of what just happened. Quite enjoyable to make sense out of so many things that do lay around inside of yourself. I feel like no, there is always no obligation to see it working like that. You just need to give yourself the chance of trying to observe if in any way possible it works or not. And if it does work, you get to reap the benefits of now becoming, yeah, let's not say becoming clearer, obtaining a clearer version of reality. And if it doesn't work, at the very least, you get to by yourself experience what are the benefits of learning that you were wrong. And I guess that is when it becomes quite problematic for you to not have properly in your hands an understanding of why errors are necessary, because in this whole process you can pretty much notice why these things are an obligation, and we will almost wish for them to be of such a nature most of the time, when I mean, maybe it can happen that failures are also necessary, because I mean, I can see it and at the same time not see it. It is like in a neuronal way, what a failure makes you notice is that a lot of those ideas that were laying around your head might get proper or more adequate connections with other things. Therefore, once again, going back to what I was saying, they increase the map of understanding that you possess of reality. The problem itself is if you wish to do such a thing, you also have to be willing to risk a lot of what is the process of trying to only be successful, I guess, because after all, you will have to try. Yeah, the basic thing of trial and error. A lot of times, with almost every single attempt that you do, but okay. I believe error might not be necessary as you can't avoid error. There might be that. Yeah, there is always that equation which supposedly, even if it is mathematically impossible, it exists a reality in which somebody has a life in which every single thing went correct for them, as in they somehow got all of the things that they desired to do, and they were capable of obtaining all of their aspirations, and literally nothing went wrong for them, meaning that somehow this person never suffered one um, minimal inadequacy or problem instead of their existence. And the same thing applies here. Maybe there is somebody who can see it like that, but what happens is we are not human beings limited by mathematical equations. What happens is because we are animals that possess the quality of rationality, what does get, yeah, what ends up being described out of those encounters is now in your hands lies the possibility of fully getting to see the world and make sense out of things. Because you have already failed and you have already noticed how many of your failures have teach you how it is that you should try to continue. It isn't that you in any way are obligated to do so, but rather that in your own hands it is the possibility of trying to do it. And when you give yourself enough time to learn from such errors and to move forward, that is when now you have unlocked, let's say, the chance of going forward. And by going forward, it means basically that you have just gained those unending, yeah, those unending degrees of comprehensiveness, those that aid you in even better planes of understanding about your own actions, because after all, things might go wrong. In the reality itself, things tend even to go wrong. So it is necessary for you to adapt and to become capable of accepting that they might go wrong so that you don't lose time in the process of grieving your failures, but just accepting that they went wrong, identifying why is it that they went wrong, and moving towards the next goal, let's say. But I I see that's quite complex. Let's say like that. Let's I I don't know. I think I am thinking too much today. I guess I might have not really been learning that much particular today. That's why I am quite energetic. I guess I I can certainly observe some occasions in which it happened like that, that I only use my time very freely. Therefore, it happened that we are here now with a more energized version than what is normal for me. But I don't know, I guess reality itself is what we are going through. Ends up being just another process of the consciousness itself. So, no real problem, I guess. I can live quite happily with that. So yeah. Um, Craziness, I guess. Being alive and thinking. What a wonderful pair of things to always observe and desire to have in life happening, let's say. But yeah, I don't know. Um, but yeah, something like that, something like that. And Boxer, hello. What do you mean? What is it that you're searching for particularly? Because it is quite complex to answer such a question, but I guess I wouldn't lie. You probably already, to some degree, possess a definition about what is best. So, the best thing is to justify even more what you already know is the best. In that case, if you possess something and justify it even more so that you can even, with even more ambition, keep moving forward. But yeah, um, but yeah. I can see it. I can see it. So yeah, that's the short response. Um, the short response itself is that there is something worth, but you already have defined some such a thing. So it is quite complex to simply say, no, yeah, the best thing is money or whatever. You already have your own definition. So it's quite meaningless for me to impose what I believe might be the best when you have already yours. But yeah. Um, I can see why it ends up being quite a meme. I mean, after all, it is not an offense if I say it, right? That most people, if you ask them something like that, they will end up telling you stuff like, "Oh yeah, what is the best in my life is going to sleep or having ice cream or such things," you know. So yeah, it does happen that some people can't really fully see why answering things seriously is necessary. But yeah. Um, Yeah, you see, what I said before, you already have a sense of definition about that same response. It is not so useful for me to try and say what is useful in a sense of my own beliefs. The question itself is what is best in life overall, not in my own life, you know? So the reasoning is that you should always try to validate even more your senses. And I guess certainly something like what is the idea itself of a god ends up being quite. Um, I think there is a better word, so sorry if I use it incorrectly, but self validating, because by learning more and more about a god, it is that you observe how much of a proper reason it is to follow such a thing, and how much of a usefulness it is to advocate to yourself following such ideologies. The problem is you need to dedicate quite a lot of time to do such a process, and even more obviously, you you quite need to be prepared to deal with if we're talking about God, with the lessons that are also extracted from learning from almost any sense of the biblical passages and such, or be it anyways, be it any form of God literature, let's say. So it only means that whichever type of God it is that you believe in, the way to realize and the way to be connected with it is quite complex because you have to learn what errors are already affecting you as a human being. And to do so, it is quite humbling because, once again, you in the process, you should probably be capable of realizing, at the very least, if you believe in a God, how tiny you are compared to what ends up being that idea of a supreme being. So yeah, there are a lot of ways through which you can get to God, or yeah, to God, whichever one is it that you end up believing in. But the problem is, I believe continuing with the process of moving towards God, let's say, is even harder because obviously, if you have more secluded ideologies, they will be even worse in that regard. But the average is certainly a humbling experience. Once again, you're not so important, and you're never so um, powerful as you have seen before yourself, or before in the sense of before you integrated on your own vision what was the term of a god and such things. So yeah, it is quite crazy and it is quite complex to do so. And yeah, yeah, also, it is terrifying, but I mean, there is there is a certain thing at the very least with most of those of the modern religions, that is that no matter which god is it that you believe in, because even, for example, today we're going later on to continue reading the Mahabharata, and even in the Mahabharata, that is Hinduistic based scripts, all of that, all of those gods still love humanity to a certain extent. Thus, it means that um, every single god, in some way or another, loves you. Once again, even if you are an incredibly unimportant thing. So it is quite humbling also to see how much of us of an important thing, or not an important, once again, of a beautiful thing you are, even if you are not important. That's the way to properly address such a thing. But yeah, um, yeah. Basically that, that by by observing what God also thinks about you, you get to see how useful it is to have such a concept affecting your life. But I don't know. Once again, I think the problem is it sounds easy. Sorry, sorry. I I fucking died. I no problem. It was it was quite some time of me dying. So there is literally also thank you box. Thank you a lot. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah. As I wanted to say, I guess oh man, I fucking died with that. Oh. What happens is there are a lot of different ways through which, let's say, God shows to you that you're important, but at the same time, the more you learn that you're important, the more you learn that your importance doesn't come from who you are, but rather from the actions that you perform, abiding once again to what you mentioned, the idea of a God. So it is quite a challenging process to try and go behind anything. Also, why was there no fucking alert of the subscription? What's going on? I have it activated. What's up with that? Let me search for that. But yeah, as I was saying, the concept of a god shows you that you're important as long as you're capable of abiding through the rules that it shows to you. But the more responsibilities that you have in your hands, the harder it gets to fulfill your role. Even more, once again, compared to the standards of such gods. Once again, be it whichever one is it that you believe, and even if you believe that you have self-soothing tools like knowing that God loves you or that there are different what is it? It isn't just webs, it is different, what's the word? Of different, okay, you have different groups of people that are also willing to help you because they are also searching for at the very least something minimally similar to your vision of a god and such things. All of those are there to try and aid you or keeping, yeah, from not stopping your efforts to going forward with believing in God. So the problem is how much you can really burden yourself with until it becomes, let's say, quite complex for you to keep accepting that God really sees you as something important. While at the same time, once again, not observing you as the most um, important being of everything, but still letting you take as much responsibility as you can. And that is quite hard. But with what? Well, I mean, I will not. Okay, okay. What I will say is probably I hope you have the possibility of exploring yourself, all of the things related to your interests when it comes to religion, because there are certainly a lot of different visions that can fit your particular idea as to what it is this world. And if that end up or ended up already giving you the sense that being a Catholic Christian was the proper way, then you have a lot of the process solved. But once again, what is being asked out of you will be quite complex, and you just need a little bit of patience, I believe so. And I mean, obviously, even more with what God predicates in the Christian religion. If you keep trying, you will see that you succeed, and if you keep making efforts, you will be rewarded for such things. So it is in particular the Catholic or the Christian religion in itself, and a lot of its different branches quite suiting in that sense. You are not torturing yourself with so many responsibilities or such sad views on this world. So quite nice, I believe. But yeah, it yet again it takes time. So be patient. I believe so. I mean, there is something like we don't understand the times of God or something like that. I think it is a passage, and that is quite necessary to apply even in these processes because yet again we don't get to be fully immersed in whatever it is that we wish to. So one has to cultivate patience. Yeah. What's there? Second display. Mhm, mhm. Yeah. I mean, that's always the important thing here that you can find a proper response that fits, once again, what is your own vision and what ends up keeping you moving forward. Because I guess, also, wait, I forgot to test this. What's up with this? Is this stuff going on? Is this alive? Is this dead? Uh, Holy fucking shit! It is incredibly loud. Did you hear that or was it only me? That was loud as fuck. Okay. Oh my man. I have it muted, I think. Let me see. Yeah, I have it quite muted. So yeah, anyways. Um what I was saying before I scared myself is a process that takes a lot of time is to realize that what needs to be always fulfilled is you just need to justify, not just in a sense of being fully self centered, but rather what should be primordial for you is to find something that gives you enough meaning, not something that is imposed on you or something that seems to be quite logical, but at the same time that leaves you with a sour taste on your mouth when you really try to think about it. Because the opportunity, and even more if you're a Christian, I think you will get it very easily. The opportunity of being alive that was given to you even more by a God is a beautiful gift, not something that you should condemn yourself over, and not something that you should lose the chance of enjoying. And obviously, this doesn't mean that you should indulge in any type of vice, but rather that it is in you throughout, in this case, the process of searching for God, capacity of arriving to a proper vision of what you want. Not, it isn't that necessary for you to be fully categorized as something sometimes, let's say. So, once again, if it is still hard to get, I hope, Box, you're happy with what you chose. Um, but yeah. I think that's that. That's what I wanted to say, basically. But yeah. Um, mhm. I mean, once again, the problem is it gets quite complex, and even more the temptations of what is being alive are not so easy to avoid. So you, you can't, not that nobody can fully avoid temptations. And it was so. There it is. There are the alerts incredibly loud now. So, as I was trying to say before I scared myself once again, all of these things need enough time for you to enjoy them, while also finding what can be fulfilling without losing the sense of direction that can be given to you through the different responses that you find. And to do such a thing, you need to cultivate enough patience. And to cultivate such patience, once again, in these cases, you possess almost all the tools provided to you, in this case by God. So it is quite useful to have proper belief on what you have decided to follow. But yeah, um, temptation is allowed, so you can overcome it. Well, I mean, yeah. But I was thinking, not myself. Sorry, I heard somebody who thought about it. No, personally, haven't really immersed in my own person in those ideas. But there is also a concept that seems to be quite interesting, and that is there is nobody who is a complete saint in this world, and that tries to lead you towards the understanding that temptation is not only allowed, it will happen. It is good to not be so bashful against yourself for those tiny errors. Obviously, this doesn't mean that you should pardon yourself and excuse yourself out of every single failure that you have, but rather that it is understandable for you to not take it so personal when you go through certain experiences. Because after all, nobody can reach perfection. And to ask yourself, I mean, yet again, going back to what I was saying, the image of God, you are created to through the image of God in an imperfect vessel. So it is quite illogical or irrational for you to ask um, perfection from what can't be in any way perfect. But yeah. Um, I can see why they will say something like that, I guess. After all, there is also this other concept that if you fear something so much, you will probably live your life in terror of even finding it. And a lot of things, even more in this world, are embedded to a certain extent in temptation. For example, you shouldn't be tempted by money, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a work. You need to sustain yourself. So it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have any way to keep you and your important ones alive. It just takes some time. And I don't know. I think it is, in other words, a question of finding the proper balance between doing things for the proper reason and going to those spaces in which a lot of other things might also get a little bit weird, let's say. Yeah. Also that. Also true. If you can. if you can realize that temptation is really limiting your life, you are almost, it isn't a temptation itself, but you're failing prey to the hands of fear. Therefore, you are not hearing. In this case, Christian beliefs, I think it is something along the lines of uh, ours. I won't fully paraphrase that, but it is like you should believe in God because He is there for you and He is willing to help you even if you fear what is probably going to happen. So if you believe that He can help you with the problems that you are going to find in your life in those cases, you're already abandoning the proper hope that He was trying to teach you. So yeah, it is complex, but it can reach a proper point. I think so. I think you just need patience. I believe, and once again, go back to it. Love to what you're doing, or love for what you're doing. Yeah. The same also with that. Yeah. I mean, quite coincidentally, for example, yesterday we analyzed something similar or along the lines of it is also quite meaningless to worry so much about death when you have so much to do in this life and you will never experience death because death is something that literally is the complete opposite of being alive. So, even more in this case, trying to tie it with this whole narration of beliefs. God doesn't ask you to think about that. He gives you the possibility of salvation towards the process of doing good things alive, not to finding yourself to die the best way or something like that. So yeah, it, it is quite a plethora of topics to analyze, I guess. But I don't know. I guess it just takes time, and the, even more in these cases, it takes the proper analysis of what are the scriptures of um, your own group of people, I guess, because certainly also you shouldn't want to go against what is kind of the pre-established order in those cases. I believe so. You might do whatever you want, as always, but I I wouldn't recommend doing such things. Um, but yeah, understandable so far. And also, I have been coughing a little bit, so let me drink a little bit of water before I we end up in something quite bad with my voice. Let me drink water. Oh man. Oh yeah, I was getting a little bit what is it? Dry my mouth and such. So yeah, um, continuing. Oh man, what a nice what a nice day. But well, we are. I think we should try seeing that the waters got still after a little bit. We might try to go for the Mahabharata after so long. Let's say after how much? An hour and a half. So yeah, might finally into into reading. I I don't know. I want things to go well. I hope it is worth it this time around. I will die if this ends up being I will end up crying if this ends up being not that useful. Please, let me see. Uh, Here, Mahabharata, Canto 111, and now let me here. See, hello, hello, what's up? Okay, there it is. Um, Also, this is my channel. I do whatever I want. If I say that this is ASMR, you think that this is ASMR, I accept that. Let me change that into category or no. This is ASMR now. Obviously not, but who will know? So yeah, we're continuing. But we have to do it, and we left it quite unattended for some time. And also, yeah, last time it also happened that my throat died in the middle of trying to read. So it was a little bit embarrassing, anything of that. So yeah, here we are. After like a week, I think it is, we're continuing with the Mahabharata, our beautiful book. Also, shut up, browser. So here we have. Sorry. Mhm. Okay, okay, okay. No problem, no problem. Yeah. Take your time as much as you need. Box, thank you. Thank you for being here. Um, Here, we're on the Canto 111th of the Mahabharata. Just in case, a little bit of a short introduction. We are reading the story of the Pandavas. We're observing who they are, what they are doing, what they are going for, different things that they are trying to achieve, the tribulations that they are also facing, and similar things. So yeah, what I don't remember if this is inside of another story like we have been going through lately or not. I think it is, but I don't really remember at this exact point. So yeah. Anyways, we might start this because I can't. Or well, let me see. Do I have any particular context to provide here? Can I remember what this was about? And also, why is my PC going so fast, brother? What's up with that? Are we not crashing? We're fine somehow. I don't know, I guess. So yeah, anyways, continuing with this. Canto 111. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Lomasa says, "Oh, Maharata, he prepared a floating hermitage, both because the king had ordered so, and also because it exactly accorded with her plan. Delightful it was, the floating asrama, with artificial trees adorned with various flowers and fruit, with diverse shrubs and creepers, and it provided delicious fruit. It truly looked as if it had been created by magic. She moored this great craft very near the hermitage of Kasyapa's grandson, then sent emissaries to survey the places that the rishi habitually frequented. Then she saw her opportunity and sent forth her daughter, also a courtesan and of smart sense. That clever woman went to the vicinity of the rishi's hermitage, and she saw Rishia's Rigna. Approaching him, she said, Muni, I hope that all is well with you and the other tapasbins. I trust that you have a plentiful store of fruit and roots, and that and that you take delightful in this hermitage. I have come to visit you, and I hope that the passy of the riches waxes daily. I trust your father's spirit has not slackened, and that he is well pleased with you. Oh, Rishias Ringa, I hope that you pursue the studies that are appropriate for you. Rishias Ringa said, You will shine with luster, as if you were made of light, and I say you are worthy of worship. I will give you pathia to wash your feet, and such fruits and roots that you might like, for this is what my Dharma says. This Dabhasana is made of kusa grass and covered with a black deerskin to make it comfortable. Sit upon it, O Brahmana, who resembles a deva, and tell me, where is your asrama? And what is this Vratakal, which you now seem to be observing? The courtesan said, O son of Kasyapa, my asrama is on the other side of yonder hill, covers 3 yohanas and is full of delight. There, it is my fate not to receive obeisance or to touch water to wash my feet. I am not worthy of being worshipped by men like you. Rather, I must make my obeisance to you. O Brahmana, this is the vrata that I must observe, to clasp you in my arms. Precious Ringa said, let me give you ripe fruits, gallnuts, mirobalans, carushas, ingotas from sandy soil, and figs. Be pleased to taste them and find some pleasure. She, however, flung aside all those pure things he offered and instead gave him unclean things to eat, but deliciously prepared and fine to look at, and the innocent Rishis Ringa found them most agreeable. She gave him the most fragrant garlands, exquisite and shimmering garments to wear, and wine drink. They talked and laughed and played together. In his sight she played with a ball, sinuously, and seemed like a creeping plant broken into her lissom body. Repeatedly she touched his body with her own, and clasped him in her arms. She took flowering twigs from Sala, Asoka, and Tilaka trees. Drunk, assuming a bashful look, she continued tempting Rishia's Ringa, and when she saw that she had touched his heart, she pressed his body with her own, again and again, and with sidelong, seductive glances, slowly wandered away, saying that she was going to make offerings to the fire. When she left him, Rishia's Ringa was frantic with desire and could think of nothing else but her. His mind turned constantly to her and felt empty. He began to sigh and seemed to be in great distress. At that moment, Kashyapa's son, Pipkandaka, whose eyes were tawny like a lion's, whose body was covered with hair down to the tips of his nails, who was devoted to Brahmana Dharma, whose life was pure and spent it on dhyana, came and saw his son sitting alone, pensive and sad, obviously distraught, and seeking again and again with upturned eyes. Bipkandaka said to Rishyas Ringa, my child, why are you not chopping firewood for the Agni? I hope that you have offered Havis, the burnt offering. Today, I hope you have polished the sacrificial ladles and spoons and brought the calf to the milch cow, whose milks give us all we need to make our sacrificial offerings to the fire. Surely, you are not yourself, my son. You are pensive. Why? You seem to be terribly disturbed. Why are you so sad today? Who has come here this day? I I don't remember exactly the context as to why this is happening, but I can see pretty easily. I mean, it is in no way hidden this whole in this whole canto how easy it is for a man to fall for a woman that seems to act proper with him. And if I had to try and add something particular to Canto 111, it would be the fact that certainly not only it is clear so far that this guy, as in, sorry, not just this guy, Regis Ringa, was a guy who was interested in having certain type of connection with the woman, but even more, let's say, that with his heart swayed, he ended up almost losing all that he was capable of creating before, because in his hands lies the possibility of somehow being good and being useful for others. And all of this was not just born out of nowhere. It was rather, I believe so, an unavoidable consequence of his own actions, because he truly believed that what he was capable of coming up with was nothing else than the creation, or not just the creation, sorry, the, the final consequence of playing with a man, let's say, and being capable of swaying him. So, so far, I think, yeah, there is nothing really hidden here, or that hard to get, or that might be highlighted. I believe so. But yeah, yeah, I think uh, we can continue probably. I think so. At least from this canto. So yeah, that's canto 100 million. Now, moving on to canto 112. Tirtayatra Parva continued. So yeah, it goes like this. Risyasarenga said, a brahmachari with a mass of jata on his head came here today. He was neither short nor tall. He had a spirited look, a golden complexion, and eyes large as lotuses, and he was shining and graceful as a god. Rich was his beauty, a light like the sun, and he was exceedingly fair. Ah, his eyes graceful and black, his twisted hair was blue black and neat and long and fragrant and tied up with strings of gold. A beautiful ornament glittered at his throat like lightning in the sky, and under the throat he had two balls of flesh without a single hair upon them, and oh, an exceedingly beautiful form, with such a slender waist and a deep navel, and the skin upon his chest was smooth, a golden string shone from under his clothes, just like this waist string of mine. There was something on his feet of a wonderful shape which gave forth a lovely tinkling. His wrists likewise wore a pair of ornaments that made a similar sound and looked just like these prayer beads. And when he walked, his ornaments sounded like delighted ganders upon a sheet of water. He wore garments of wonderful make upon his person. These clothes I I wear are by no means beautiful like those. His face was also so wonderful to behold, and his voice was modulated to gladden the heart, just as his speech was as sweet as the song of the koyal. While I listened to him, I felt stirred in my inmost heart, as a forest in spring is most graceful when swept by a breeze, even so, my father, that fragrant sage is most beautiful when the air finds him. His mass of hair is neatly tied and is sleek against his head and brow, divided evenly by a parting. His eyes seem to be covered with chakrabaka beards of exceptionally beautiful forms. In his right hand he held a wonderful round fluid, which falls to the ground and again lifts up to the sky in the strangest way, and he beats it and turns himself round and whirls like a tree moved by the breeze. When I look at him, oh father, he seemed to be a son of the devils, and my joy was extreme and my pleasure unbounded. He clasped my body, seized my matted hair, and bent me down, and mingling his mouth with my own, uttered a delightful sound I have never heard. He does not care for Padia or the fruit I offered him, and said to me that this was his vrata, but he gave me many fruit, And these we have do not match those nearly for taste. They have no rind nor any stone within them like this. That noble formed one gave me water of such flavor that I have never drunk before. It was exquisite, and having drunk it, I felt uncanny pleasure. Why? The ground seemed to move under my feet. These redolent garlands, entwined with silken threads, belonged to him, and he, bright with fervent pity, scattered these garlands here, then went back to his own as Rama. His going has saddened my heart, and my body seems to be burned all over. My desire is to go to him as soon as I can, and to have him walk about here every day. Oh, Father, let me go to him this very moment. Ah, what abaya does he practice? As he, that pious one, is performing tapasya, I want to go and live with him and share his penances. My heart yearns for his unusual mode of practicing austerities. My soul will be in torment if I cannot see him. What's why are they talking? Okay. I don't get what is going on as to why this guy is exactly talking about a guy. I was pretty sure it wasn't it all feminine descriptions before. Like what is going on there? What did I miss? But well, besides that, I think it is once again this one is not that complex to get. So I I can see how much it talks about the amount of enamorment that what's his name? Risyasaringa felt towards his um, Rakshasa. So it seems to be quite a clever thing to realize that this is not so simple. This is even less uh, ignorable than before. But yeah, it seems quite understandable so far what is being shown over here. And everything else doesn't take such a simple form, I believe. So, yeah. I okay, wait, because I have only one thing that I want to observe, and I didn't understand it even when I read it. So here, this what is what is this about? What I am not understanding here. In his right hand, he held a wonderful round fruit, which falls to the ground and again leaps up to the sky the strangest way. What is this about? Exactly what is being talked about here? What is what is the core idea? I understand. I can't really get what is. I guess it is something like a deception or something like that that is happening to this guy, to Rishia's Ringa. That is why he sees such wonderful things and describes them with so much passion. But yeah, it doesn't seem that comprehensible to me. What is that fruit? And even more because, once again, there is no particular name for them. So it already is kind of weird, even for a very trained rishi like him. So yeah. Anyways, let's do this because I needed to take a tiny idol break. So please give me like 1 or 2 minutes. I will be back. But yeah, before we continue with the next canto, that was canto 112. So yeah, give me a second. Oh, finally, that was only a minute. Oh my god. So yeah, anyways, we are back with this. So yeah, that was Canto 112. I didn't really see anything particularly, as I said before, particularly outstanding before or besides, sorry, the description of that weird fruit. So I will just continue. I will rather pretty much just continue. But yeah, that is Canto 112. Now, moving on onto Canto 113. Tirthayatra Parva continues. Vipkandaka said, "My child, these are Rakshasas who walk about in wonderful forms. Their strength is unrivaled and their beauty great, and they always strive to obstruct the practice of true austerities. They assume lovely forms and try to seduce by various means. Those fierce beings hold the rishis, the dwellers in the forest, down from blessed regions won through their piety. And the Muni, who has control over his soul and who wants to gain the realms where the righteous go, must have nothing to do with them. They are vile creatures who obstruct tapasya and delight in that, and a rishi should never look at them. Oh, my son, those were drinks unworthy to be drunk. They were spirits that sinners consume. And these garlands, bright and fragrant and of many hues, are not intended for sannyasis. Having thus forbidden his son, saying that those were evil demons, Bibhandaka went in quest of her. When, after a 3 days search, he could not find her, he returned to his asrama. In the meanwhile, while Rishya's Riginuga went out to gather fruit, the courtesan returned to tempt him. And as soon as Rishya's Ringa saw her, he was ecstatic and ran to her, crying, "Let us go to your asrama before my father returns." Rahan, those courtesans made Rishya's Ringa board their floating hermitage. As soon as he was aboard, they moored the vessel and cast off. With a myriad of pleasures they kept him engaged on the light until they arrived in the kingdom of Anga. Then, leaving the floating vessel of dazzling white upon the water, they fetched the innocent Rishi, Vihandaka's son, to the king Lomapada, who kept him in his Antapura among his women. Suddenly, the heavens opened and it poured over the kingdom. Why, the very world seemed to become flooded with water. His fervor, his fervent wish fulfilled, Lumapada bestowed his daughter Shanta on Rishyas Ringa in marriage. With a view to appease the wrath of his father, he ordered Cain to be placed and fields to be plowed by the road that Bigandaka will take to come to his son. He also set stout cowherds along the route with a plenitude of cattle and ordered them, "When the Maharishi Bikhandaka asks you about his son, you must fold your hands and say to him that all these cattle, all these fields belong to his son, and that you yourself are his slaves, ready to obey his every wish." Now, having gathered roots and fruits, the Rishi Bikhandaka, whose temper was fierce, returned to his hermitage and looked for his son. Not finding him, he became fiercely angry. He was beside himself with fury, and he suspected King Lamapada's hand in what had befallen Rishyas Ringa. He set out for the city of Chamba, having made up his mind to burn the king, his city, and his whole kingdom. On the way, he was tired and hungry. When he reached the cleverly placed and opulent cowherd settlements, rich with cattle, he felt honored at the way in which the cowherds welcomed and fitted him, and he spent that night in a manner befitting a king. Having partaken of their great hospitality, he asked them, "To whom, O cowherds, do you belong?" They surrounded him all and said, "All this wealth has been provided for your son." Biphandaka continued his journey, and along his way he was similarly honored frequently. Finally, arriving, he saw Ringa, his son, who looked like the god Indra in heaven. He also saw his daughter-in-law, Shanta, looking like lightning springing from a cloud. Having seen everything provided for Saringa, as well as the exquisite Princess Shanta, Bibkandaka was appeased. Rahan, he expressed his satisfaction with Lomapada, the Maharishi, whose powers rivaled those of Surya and Agni, said to Risyasaringa, as soon as a son is born to you, and having done all that this king wants from you, you must return immediately to the forest. Risyasaringa did exactly as his father said, and he returned to Bibkandaka's Asarama. Rahan, Shanta obediently waited upon him, as in the firmament Rohini waits upon the moon, or as the fortunate Arundhati waits upon Vasista, or as Lomapudra waits upon Agastya, just as Damayanti was an obedient wife to Nala, or as Sachi is to the god of who wields the thunderbolt, or as Indrasena, Narayana's daughter, was always obedient to Motagala. So did Shanta wait lovingly upon Risyasaringa while he lived in the forest. This is the holy hermitage that was Risyasaringa's, ennobling the great lake here. It bears sacred fame. Perform your revolutions here and have your desire fulfilled. And having purified thyself, direct your course towards other holy tirthas. Okay. Pretty easy this one, I guess. Yeah. It it starts to get a little bit complicated, obviously, because we are already dealing with a little bit more of higher notions, and we are finally starting to see stuff not so mundane. We are getting to observe a lot of different meanings and a lot of different ideas more related to what is the nature itself of, I will say, being alive and being capable of fulfilling a proper role, in this case, not in society at all, but rather in the eyes of your own family, because that is also quite a notorious idea here, no? That the king um, was capable of pardoning Richias Ringa for his failure by seeing how many deeds he had under his sway, let's say, and all of that ended up reflecting on Richias Ringa Ringa's nature as something truly aching the importance of the one who's capable of surviving even the greatest of the problems. So yeah, up to here it seems pretty understandable, I feel like. And we are not really out there yet with ideas. We can continue, I feel like, because so far, yeah, this was Canto 113th. Let's see what's next. And well, before doing so, let me also please drink a little bit of water. Thank you. So yeah, here, continuing. Canto switch. Tirthayatra Parva continued. While Sampayana said, then, O Hanamahaya, the son of Pandu sets out from the river Kaushiki and journeys in succession to all the sacred shrines, and he comes to the sea where the river Ganga flows into it. There, at the nave of 500 rivers, he performs the holy ceremony of an ablution. Then, O ruler of the earth, accompanied by his brothers, the valiant Kshatriya goes along the shore towards the land where the Kalinga tribes dwell. Lomasa says, this is the land, Kaunteya, where the Kalinga tribes live. The river Baitarani passes through it, upon the banks of which river Dharmadeva performed Atapasya. Having first placed himself under the protection of the Celestials, this is the northern bank, with its charmed mountain, inhabited by rishis, ideal for the performance of religious rites and frequented by Brahmanas. This place rivals the path by which a virtuous man, fit for heaven, repairs to the Valoka. Here, in days of yore, other sages worshipped the gods with austerities. It was here, O king, that the Lord Rudra seized the sacrificial beast and cried, "This is my share!" Bharatotama. When Shiva carried away the Yagnapasu, the Devas said to him, "Do not covet the property of others, flouting the laws of Dharma." They eulogized the Lord Rudra and blessed him with the offering of a sacrifice and honored him duly. Thereupon he gave up the beast and left by the path trodden by the gods. Hear what happened to the Rudra, O Yudhishthira. Influenced by their dread of him, the Devas forevermore set apart the best of all shares of their offerings, what was fresh and not stale, for him. Whoever performs ablutions at this spot while reciting this ancient story will see with his mortal eyes the path that leads to the Valoka. All the sons of Pandu and the daughter of Drupada, all of whom were the favored by fate, descend to the river Baitarani and offer libations in the name of their fathers. Yudhishthira says, "O Lomasa, how great must be the force of a pious deed. Having bathed here, I feel as if I am no more in the world of men. Maharishi, I see all the worlds, and I hear the holy munis of the forest chanting the Veda." Lomasa says, "Yudhishthira, the place from where the chanting comes is 300,000 Johannas from here. Lord of men, be quiet and utter no word. This is the divine forest of the Swayambhuka, which has now come to our view. There, Vishwakarma, whose name is dreaded, performed a yagna. During that mighty sacrifice, the self-existent one made a gift of this entire earth, with all its hilly and forest tracts, to Kashyapa by way of Dakshina for serving as a priest. As soon as Bhumidemi was given away, she became sad and spoke in anger to that great lord, the ruler of the worlds. "Oh, Mahadeva, it's unworthy of you to give me away to an ordinary mortal, and this dana of yours will come to nothing, for I mean to plunge down into the bottom of Patala." When the blessed Rishi Kashyapa saw the goddess earth, despondent and angry, he performed a propitiatory ritual to appease her. Pandava, Bhumi Devi, was pleased with his worship, and she rose again from within the waters and showed herself in the form of sacred altar. This, O king, is the place which distinctly manifests the form of a Vedi. Walk over it, and you will gain valor and strength. Rahan, this is the very altar which reaches as far as the sea and rests itself upon its bosom. May good fortune be yours. Climb here and by yourself walk out into the sea while I perform the ritual for averting all evil from you. For as soon as it receives a mortal's touch, this body at once enters into the sea. Salutation to the God who protects the universe. Salutation to you that are beyond the universe. O Lord of gods, vouchsafe your presence in this sea. Pandava, you must swiftly climb the Vedi while chanting this mantra. The god of fire and sun and the organ of generation and water and goddess and the seat of Vishnu and the novel of nectar. The god of fire is the organ that generated the ocean. The earth is your body. Vishnu deposited the seed that caused your being, and you are the novel of nectar. chanting these words aloud, Pandava, and plunged into the sea even as you do so. Otherwise, O best of Kanti's son, this Lord of Waters of divine beard, this most auspicious of all waters of this earth, must not be touched, not even with the tip of a blade of sacred grass. When the ritual for averting evil has been completed, Yudhishthira enters the sea, and having done everything that the Rishi had asked him, repairs to the foothill of the Mahendra mountain and spends the night in that place. Well, I can understand so far the narration of this part. I don't really see a proper function for what we are observing in this case. I can get the main idea, and I can get the main concepts, yeah, but at the same time, I don't really find anything particularly amazing about what is being contemplated, or anything truly outstanding. I mean, you can always dwell a little bit on what is the main idea of, wow, these tirtas will liberate your soul and whatever, but that is not really a point that is of any importance to us. Once again, in this whole narration, what becomes quite clear is that the theaters are one of the most fantastical aspects of the story. I don't want to say it in a slandering way, but certainly the theaters themselves are pretty much the deus ex created to justify the well-being of the Pandavas after they went through so much process and this is not okay. Instead of this being a training arc, this is a Tirta's arc in which they redeem themselves. Basically, the same thing. It's a training arc, but with Tirtas. So yeah, not that great, I think so. But anyways, continuing, that was gone to 114th. Now, to go to 115th. Tirthayatra Parva continue. Vaisampayana said, the king of the earth spends a single night there, with his brothers, pays the highest homage to the rishis, and Lomasa acquaints him with the names of all of them, the Brigus, the Angiras, the Vasishtas, and the Kasyapas, and the Raharishi visits them all and makes obeisance to them with folded hands, and then he asks to valiant Agridabrana, who is a follower of Surama, when will the worshipful Parasurama show himself to the rishis here? I, too, wish to have a darshana of the Bhargava. Agritarvana says, Rama already knows about your coming here. His soul spontaneously knows all things. He's in every way well pleased with you, and he will show himself readily to you. The rishis who perform tapasya here are allowed to see him on the 14th and the 18th day of the lunar month. When this night ends, tomorrow, the 14th day of this moon will begin, and you shall see him clad in a sable deerskin, and wearing his hair in a mass of shatter. Yudhishthira says, you have long been a follower of the mighty Rama, Yamadagni's son. You must have been an eyewitness to all his awesome deeds of yore. I beg you, tell me how Rama vanquished all the Kshatriyas on the field of battle. Tell me also what the original cause of the conflict was. Kritavarna says, Mahabharata, gladly, I will narrate that great tale to you. The lesson of the godlike deeds of Asarama, the son of Jamadagni, who belongs to the race of Brigu. I will also relate the achievements of the great king of Haihaya tribe. His name was Arjuna, and Parasurama killed him. He, O Pandava, was endowed with 1,000 arms, and through the grace of Dattatreya, he also had a golden, heavenly Vimana. His sway extended over all the worlds, and his Vimana could go anywhere at his very thoughts. Becoming invincible with the boon, he went everywhere in that Vimana, rode rough over the Devas, Yakshasas, and Rishis, wherever he pleased. He tyrannized all they created. Finally, the Devas and the Rishis of Astartapasya went together to Vishnu, the slayer of demons, god of gods, of inexorable prowess, and said to him, blessed and revered God, if creation is to be saved, you must kill Kartavir Yahuna, the mighty king of the Kaihayas, riding his Vimana, rudely affronted Indra, while that Deva was along with his queen Sachi. At this, O Mahabharata, the Lord Vishnu consulted with Indra with a view to killing Kartavirya's son, Arjuna. Indra told Vishnu all about Arjuna's depredations and sins, and the gods whom the worlds worship went to the enchanted Vadari forest, which was his own chosen Tapovana. At this very time, there lived on the earth a mighty sovereign, monarch in the land of Kanyakupka, a king with a vast army. His name was Gadhi, and his fame resounded through the world. He, however, retired into the forest, becoming a Vanaprastha. While he lived in the Vana, a daughter was born to him. As beautiful as an Apsara was she, and Rachika, the son of Bregu, asked for her to be his wife. Gadhi said to Brahmana, who led a most austere life, we have a family custom in our race, founded by our most ancient ancestors. Know, O Brahmanatama, that he who wishes to marry a princess of our clan must offer a dowry of 1,000 fleet horses, whose color must be brown, and every one of which must have a single sable ear. But, son of Bregu, a reverend Moni like you cannot be asked to make the same offering. Neither can I refuse to give my daughter to an exalted and holy one like you. Rechika said, I will give you 1,000 fleet steeds, brown hue, and each one with a single black ear. Give me your daughter. Rechaka went to Varuna and said, give me 1,000 swift horses, brown in color, and each with one black ear. I want them as Tedrauri for my marriage. Varuna gave him 1,000 steeds. These steeds had issued out of the river Ganga, and so the place had been named Aswatirtha. In the city of Kankakupka, no, Kanyakupcha, the daughter of Gadhi, the princess Satyapati, was given in marriage, and the gods themselves were in the bride's party. Thus, Recheka, best of Brahmanas, procured 1,000 horses, and sought the dwellers of heaven and won life, and he ensured the girl of the slender waist, and gratified all the desire that he ever had. When the marriage had been celebrated, O king, his father Bregu came on a visit to see him and his wife, and he was glad to see his son. The husband and wife together paid their respects to him, who was worshipped by all the gods. Bregu sat, and they stood near him with folded hands, waiting to do his bidding. Maharishi Bregu, glad at heart, said to his daughter-in-law, lovely child, ask me for a boon. I will give you anything that you want. And she asked that a son might be born to both herself and her mother, and he granted her wish. Brigu said, during the days that your season lasts, you and your mother must bathe, observing the Devarata to be a son. Then you must also both separately embrace two different trees. She a papal tree, and you a fig tree. Beautiful child, here are two pots of payasa, rice and meal, which I have prepared with great care. I have combed the universe to find the medicaments that I have blended into this tapasya. With great care must you both drink this. Saying this, he vanished. However, the two women interchanged not only the vessels of payasa that he gave them, but also the trees that they embraced. After many days, they each appeared again. Like he already knew, through his mystic vision, what had happened. The mighty Brigu said to Satyavati, his daughter-in-law, Dharmaputri, you had your own pot of payasa, and you embraced your own tea. It was your mother who deluded you. You will have a son who, though born a Brahmana, will have the character and nature of a Kshatriya. Your mother will have a Kshatriya son who will live the life of a Brahmana, and great shall be his power. He will walk the path trodden by the righteous. She begged repeatedly, "Oh, let my son not be so, but my grandson." And oh, Pandava, Rigu replied, "That has to so be it." And he was pleased to grant her wish. On the expected day, he gave birth to a son, who was called Shamadagni, endowed with both splendor and grace. As he grew in years and in strength, he excelled all the other sages in his knowledge of the Vedic lore. Mahabharata, he rivaled the sun in laser and the entire Astra Shastra, the martial science, and the fourfold Devastrayana came to him spontaneously, with no instruction. Very clear, very clear. Yes, it gets a little bit tricky to really try and comment on something so abstract as this last canto, but if I still have to try and talk about something, I will go for something that was quite observable, I feel like, and that is we lack a very clear sign of what are the intentions behind all of this. I think so. So it is quite charming to observe and to think, or to try to think, let's say, about which reasons there are behind all of this. But yeah, it is not so complex, I believe so. Yeah, anyways, I I want, let's do it like this. We already took a very short break, so let's take another. This time around, we are going to take it for 5 minutes, supposedly. That is the normal amount here. So let's try and take a 5 minute break. Let me set up everything so that we can have, once again, 5 minutes of rest, of thinking, of liberating ourselves from pain, and after that we continue because count 115 didn't have that much more to really do, so we might as well simply move on to something else. But anyways, yeah, thanks for all until here, and yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. My God, a minute. We are back, it seems. But well, yeah. Oh man, it gets quite challenging to continue sometimes. Not because the book itself is quite hard, but rather I believe so because we have some interesting ideas to try and observe, and that takes time. That takes time. But yeah, we will we will power through all of this and keep going. So yeah. Anyways, we also wait, because I forgot to remove this fucking timer. Give me a second. It is removed. So yeah. Anyways, continuing with all of this a little bit and moving on to Canto 116th of the Tirtha Yatra Parva continued. Very well. It goes like this. Agritavrana says, Samazagni devoted himself to the study of the Veda and the practice of tapasya, and became famous for his great austerities. He pursued a deep and systematic course of study and gained mastery over the entire Veda. Then, O king, he went to Prasenahit and sought the hand of Renuka in marriage. That king happily gave the sage his daughter, and having got Renuka for his wife, the Brigunandana, the light of Brigu's rays, began living with her in his asrama. Now he performed tapasya, and she helped and looked after him. Four boys were born to her. Rama the fifth. Welcome, books. Hey, welcome back. Although the youngest, he was superior to all his brothers. One day, when her sons had gone into the forest to gain fruit, the pure and austere Renuka went to bathe in the river. While bathing, she happened to see the king of Martikavataka, who was known as Chitrarata. This Kshatriya, wearing a lotus rose upon his chest, was sporting with his wives in the water. Seeing his magnificent form, Renuka was touched by desire that she could not contain, and she sinned in thought in the very river and was polluted. She returned to the hermitage, trembling in her heart. Her husband instantly saw the condition she was in, and seeing that the lasser of chastity had abandoned his wife, he cried out in anguish and anger. At that very moment, the eldest of Jamadagni's sons, Rumamban, arrived there. And then Sushena, eh? Okay. And then Sushena, and then Basu, and Biswa Basu also. One by one, the Maharishi ordered them to kill their mother. However, they could not find the heart to do so. They stood silent. He cursed them in anger, and they lost their reason and became like senseless things, dull as inanimate objects, and in conduct like beasts and birds. Now, Rama arrived in the Asrama. Last of all, the mighty armed Jamadagni, of great austerities, said to him, Kill these evil mothers of yours without compunction. Oh, my son. Rama immediately took up an axe and cut off his mother's head. The wrath of Mahamata Samadagni was appeased, and well pleased, he said, My child, knower of Dharma, you have done this most difficult thing at Um, what? What? What the fuck was that? What the fuck? Um, what the fuck was that, man? I, I literally didn't lose my internet. What happened there? I, what? Anyways, let's give it a second or two. So let's see if it stabilizes or if we're going to have to call it a day out of nowhere. What was that, my brother? What happened? What the fuck? But yeah, um, it was getting interesting. Please let me continue, internet. I beg you. Let me. It seems that it hasn't lagged, so let me drink water, and after that, we're continuing. It seems, I don't know. Uh, what the fuck? Also, wait. Did the transmission itself cut off, or did it continue being just one? Also, let me check that. Give me 1 second. Session. No, okay. It is the same. What the fuck was that? I, anyways, now for real. Let me drink water, and after that we continue. I think I I think my throat is fucking acting up also. So I test. No, okay, there it is back to normal. Nice. I was getting worried for a second. Anyways, yeah. Continuing, I guess. Or well, restarting from where it died. At which Rama asked that his mother be restored to life, and that he himself not be haunted by the remembrance of his savage deed, and and that he might not be affected by any sin, and that his brothers might recover their former condition, and that he might be unrivaled on the field of battle, and have a long life. Bhavarata, Samadagni of awesome Tapasya, granted all those wishes of Rama. Then, one day, when the sage's sun had all gone out again, the valiant son of Kartavirya, the lord of the country near the shore of the sea, came to Jamadagni's hermitage. The sage's wife received him hospitably. However, intoxicated with the Kshatriya warrior's pride, he was not pleased with the reception given to him and forcibly seized and carried off the foremost among the cows whose milk supplied the sacred butter. Heedless of its loud lowing, he wantonly tore down the great trees of the forest. When Rama came home, his father told him all that had happened. When Rama saw how the cow longed for its calf, anger arose in his heart, and he rushed towards Kartaviria's son, whose last moments had drawn near. Then Bhargava, scourge of the Kshatriyas, put forth his valor on the field of battle, and with flat-tipped, sharp arrows loosed from a beautiful bow, cut away Kartaviriya Raguna's 1,000 arms, which were as massive as great door walls. Touched by the hand of death, Kartaviriya's son died at Rama's hands. The wrath steered against Rama. Arjuna's kinsmen rushed at Samadagni in his hermitage. While Rama was still away, they slew him there. For although his strength was great, he was a tapasya and would not fight. Helplessly, repeatedly, he cried out Rama's name in a piteous voice, and, with his tira, the sons of Kartavirya shot Shamadagni dead with their arrows and left yes Rama. When they had gone, and when Shamadagni had breathed his last, Rama, Brigunandana, returned to the hermitage. bearing fuel for the sacred Agni in his arms, and saw his father lying slain. He was stricken and railed against the grievous fate that had caused this tragedy. Okay. I mean, the narration itself is quite simple. We are only seeing the revenge being exacted by those who feel that they were wronged. And we are also getting the setup for the next loop of that same thing. But there doesn't seem to be anything particularly interesting in this part at the very least. So we can say that holy fuck. All of this gets minimally understandable, but doesn't get fully deep into any particular side of it. So that was Canto 116, I guess, talking about, let's say like that, talking about just a little bit of greed, a little bit of revenge, and, well, if it isn't obvious enough, those who exacted revenge had their ends brought a lot earlier than before, probably in a worse time than before, so that is already a setup for a lot of things. But yeah, besides that, continuing, now with Canto 117, Tirthayatra Parva continued. Rama cried, "The blame is mine. Oh, father, that the brave sons of Kartavirya had shot you dead with arrows like a stag in the woods. Oh, father, you were always virtuous and never swerved from the path of Dharma, nor harmed any living creature. How did fate bring you such a vile death? What an awful sin they have committed, who have killed you with hundreds of arrows, although you were an old man and therefore performing tapasya and would not fight them. With what face will those shameless ones speak of this deed of theirs to their friends and servants, that they have murdered an unassisted and unresisting holy man? O king, thus Rama of great penance wailed piteously, and then at last performed the what? Obsequies, obsequies, I guess, for his desire. Rama, conqueror of hostile cities, cremated his father on a pyre and vowed, O son of Mahabharata, to annihilate the very race of Kshatriyas. Of awesome strength, with the valor of a great warrior, and comparable to the god of death himself, he took up his weapon in broad, went forth, and single-handedly put Kartavirya's sons to death. In 3 encounters, he struck down all the Kshatriya followers of Kartavirya's sons, and 7 times that powerful one exterminated the warrior tribes of the earth. In the land called Samantapanchaka, he made 5 lakes of their blood. There, the mighty son of Pregnus race offered Tarpana to his ancestors, and Rechika appeared to him in a visible form and spoke words of counsel to him. After this, Yamadagni's son performed a mighty sacrifice and gratified the king of the Devas, and gifted the earth to the ministering priests, lord of men. He raised a golden altar there, 10 piamas in breadth and 9 in height, and gifted that bedi to the great Kasyapa. At Kasyapa's bidding, the Brahmanas divided the altar into a number of shares, and so they became known as the Kandavayanas, the share takers. The exterminator of the Kshatriyas bestowed the earth upon Mahatma Kasyapa, then engaged himself in an Attikatora Tapasya. He now dwells upon this Mahendra, monarch of hills. So it was that there were hostilities between Rama and all the Kshatriyas of the world. And killing them, Rama conquered all the earth, says Vrana. Then, on the 14th day of the moon, at the appointed hour, the mighty soul Rama shows himself to those Brahmanas and also to the virtuous Yudhishthira and his younger brothers. And, O King of Kings, the Pandavas worship Rama, and also all the other Bihas. After worshipping Shamatagni's son and receiving words of praise from him, at Parasurama's behest, Yudhishthira spends the night on the Mahendra Parvata, then sets out on his journey towards the southern lands. I can see the story, but I can't really get exactly what can be said about this one passage. It is quite clear, no, that is all is about understanding and observing the narrations of what is itself. The, the process of revenge, but nothing else is really there to take from this one. Yeah, plethora of cantos so far. So I guess we can continue. I don't believe there is anything of value to stop there for, at least for now. So yeah, we might try to do probably like one or two cantos more before leaving today. Let's see how all of this can be finished and rounded up. Um, so yeah, we are actually over here. Canto 118. The Yatraparva continued. Vaisampayana said, the great king pursues his journey, and at different places on the seashore he visits all the auspicious tirthas to which Brahmanas went, and, O son of Parikshit, did Yudhishthira bathe in them all, and his brothers with him. Later, they come to a secret river, holiest of them. There, also, the king performs his ablutions and offers libations to his ancestors and the gods, and distributes riches to the leaders of the Dvihas. Next, he comes to the Godavari, river that falls directly into the sea. There he is freed from his sins. He reaches the sea in the Dravida land, visits the holy Tirtha bearing Agastya's name, which is exceedingly sacred and exceptionally pure. The valiant king visits the feminine Tirthas of the crocodiles who were Apsaras. Here he listens to the story of Arjuna's feat, which no other mortal man could have performed. Here, the Pandava is praised by the highest man among all Brahmanas, and Yudhishthira experiences the greatest delight. And, O Lokarakshaka, along with Krishna, Pandu's sons, bathe in those tirthas, and lauding Arjuna's valor, spend some delightful time there. Yudhishthira gives away thousands of cows at those tirthas on the coast of the sea, and with his brothers tells, "Hmm? With pleasure, of cow Arjuna had made a gift of kind here. Rahan, one after another, they visit those holy places, both on the coast and many other sacred spots, as well, fulfilling their heart's desire until they come to that holiest tirtha known as Surparaka, crossing over a stretch of the sea coast, they arrive at a forest celebrated over the world. Here, the Devas had performed tapasya in the elder days, and so had the greatest Raharishis of Dharma undertaking yagnas. Here, Yudhishthira, of long and mighty arms, seized the celebrated altar of Richaga's son, who had been the greatest of archers, and Devedi, surrounded by hosts of ascetics, altar fit to be worshipped by men of Dharma. The king sees the holy and beautiful and delightful shrines of all the Devas, and of the Vasus, and of the Maruts, and of the Aswin twins, the celestial physicians, and of Yama, son of Surya, and of Kubera, the lord of riches, and of Indra, and of Vishnu, and of Brahma, and of Shiva, and of Soma the moon, and of Surya, author of the day, and of Varuna, lord of waters, and of the host of Satyas, and of the Peters, and of Rudra together with all his ganas, and of Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and of the host of Siddhas, and of many other immortal holy gods besides. In all those shrines the king observes various vratas, and gives away countless gemstones. He waits in all the tirthas, then returns to Surbaraka, from where, with his brothers, He cruises to Prabhasa, whose fame great Brahmanas have spread throughout the world. There, Yudhishthira, of large reddish eyes, bathes with his brothers and offers libations for the beaters and the devas, as do Krishna and all the Brahmanas traveling with them, and Lomas as well. For 12 days he subsists upon air and water, and performs ablutions during those days in their nights, surrounding himself with candle fires. Thus, that greatest of all virtuous men engages himself in asceticism, while word reaches Balarama and Krishna into Vraka of Yudhishthira's severe penance, and those two lords of all the Vrishnis bring a large complement of soldiers with them, and come to meet the Pandava after of Ahmedha. When the Vrishnis see the sons of Pandu lying upon the ground, their bodies covered in tears, when they see the daughter of Drupada in a piteous condition, their grief is great and they cannot stop themselves from breaking out into loud lamentation. Now the king, whose courage is such that no misfortune can ever prevail over his heart, rises and lovingly meets Rama and Krishna's son Samba, and the grandsons of Sini and other Vrishnis, pays his respects to them. Suitably, return, they also honor him and all the sons of Brita, who in turn honor them, and they seat themselves around Yudhishthira as the devas sit around Indra. O king, he describes the machinations of his enemies to them, how he has spent his years in the forest, and how Arjuna has gone to Indra's realm to acquire the Devastras. Is joyful in their company and relates all this with a light and glad heart, and they are happy to learn all this news from him. But when they see the Pandavas so emaciated, the majestic and kindly Vrishnis cannot stand their tears, gushing from their eyes for the anguish they feel. Yeah, there are some times where you can see something minimally worth being pointed out. And there are some others, like these occasions, in which you might try to force a message, but the reality is there is nothing of real value here. And I am sorry to have to accept that as a reality, but there is nothing of real value being said here. So, I don't know, man. I see that's hard to say in particular. I have known that all of these cantos kind of um, have problems in that same sense because they certainly lack any essence of proper utility. They are more like, oh yeah, remember the good sacred places and probably the modern world paid money to bathe in these waters, but it's useful in almost any way. I think so, but well, I don't know. Continuing, I guess. Or well, reality is how long is this canto? Because these cantos are getting sometimes incredibly long. 2 pages. Okay, okay, okay. We're doing this canto as the last one. And after that, we're really calling it a day. We're leaving canto 1. So yeah, now, starting with this, Tirtha Parva continued. And Mikhail said, O you of ascetic world, when the sons of Pandu, the Varishnis, reach holy Prabhasa, what do they do? And what conversation do they have between them? For all of them were such Mahatmans and held each other in high esteem. Vasabayana said, when the Varishnis arrive in holy Prabhasa, the sacred landing on the coast of the sea, they surround the sons of Pandu and wait upon them. Then Balarama, whose complexion is as fair as the milk of the cow, the Kunda flower, the moon, silver, and the lotus root, Balarama, who wears a Banamala, and whose weapon is the plowshare, speaks to the lotus-eyed Panchali. Krishna, I do not see that the practice of Dharma leads to any good or that sin fetches evil upon the sinners, for I see the godly Yudhishthira in this miserable condition, with matted hair, Avanaprastha unwedding Valkala, while Duryodhana rules the earth and the ground does not open to swallow him. It would seem that a life of viciousness is more rewarding than a virtuous one. An ordinary man wonders at the sinner Duryodhana flourishes, while the righteous Yudhishthira Dharmaputra believes no justice is always honest and liberal, has been robbed of his throne. Why? The son of Brita will give up his kingdom, his pleasure, but will not swerve from the path of Dharma. How do Bhishma and Karipa and the Brahmana Drona and the old king Dharatirashtra live happily after banishing the sons of Pandu into exile? Ah, flee on the sinful lords of Bharata's race. What Dharatirashtra says to the beaters of his noble line when the Vraj meets them in the next world, he has cast his sinless sons from the throne. When he ever claimed that he is not guilty of the worst crime, at this time he does not see with his mind's eye that he has acted blindly and truly gone blind in the sight of the kings of the earth. It is because he has banished Kundi's son from his kingdom. I have no doubts that when he, with his sons, perpetrated this inhuman act, Vishnitraviria's son sought the dread Smasana, where bodies are burnt with flowering trees of golden hue. Surely, when this stooped towards him, he will the dead with great crimson, staring eyes. He must have been he must have heeded their vicious counsel, seeing he so fiercely sent Yudhishthira into the forest, even while the son of Pandu had all his weapons and his brothers as well. This Bhima here, whose vacation, whose voracious appetite is like that of a wolf, can decimate a formidable army just with the strength of his arms and bearing no weapon. The forces on the battlefield were unmanned just to hear his war cry. Now this mighty man suffers from hunger and thirst, and is emaciated with toilsome journeys. But he takes up his arrows and other weapons, and meets his enemies on the field. He will remember the suffering of his grudge for his life, kill them to the last man. Of this I have no doubt. Through the whole world, no one can boast of strength and prowess equal to his. Alas, his body is denuded by the gold and heat and the winds. But when he stands up to fight, spare a single enemy. This mighty Kshatriya is inexorable when he rides a chariot. His Brigadara single-handedly got all the rulers of the East together with a return from wars uninjured. And that same Bhima, clad miserably, barked now it's a sorry life. But this powerful Sahadeva vanquished all the kings of the south, those lords of men who amass on the great coast. Look at him now in Tapasavesham, an anchorite's garb. Valiant Nakula single-handedly vanquished the kings of the west. He now roams the jungles, subsisting on fruit and roots, with a matted mass of shad on the head, and his body covered with dirt. This daughter of a king, who is a Mahabharata, rose from the flames during a sacrifice. She has always known a life of luxury and happiness. How does she now endure this sorry existence in a forest? And the son of the god of virtue, Dharma, which stands at the head of the three Purusharthas, and the son of the wind god, and the son of the lord of the Devas, and these two son of the Aswini Kumaras. How do they live in the forest deprived of all comfort? When Dharmaputra was beaten at dice, and when he, his wife, his brothers, and his followers were all driven into exile, and Duryodhana began to flourish, why did Tiberi earth not perish with all her mountains? Okay, okay. Pretty aggressive narration, I guess. But yeah, this is this is with what we live today in particular. It seems quite understandable. It once again, it didn't have any particular high, highly complex concepts or anything of that sort. So that was, on one sense, good. We didn't have to spend that much time talking about them. On another hand, the problem is we really don't want to not have anything to learn from these ideas. At the very least, one of them had something that is more than rewarding, I guess so. But that was quite weird, man. That was quite an annoying experience. I will declare it like that. But yeah, we survived watching a little bit of the Mahabharata today, and as always, we continued. We progressed like 8 different cantos, and most of these pages are double page, so that is also quite nice. We will see how we do next time. But yeah, this has been all so far for today. I I can't really add that much more. Particular, we we did it. We survived the fifth night. They will say. Yeah, this was always a pleasure. I I guess this is all for now. Later on, we will get to see what we can do. But right now, this is all. This is everything that we can actually do. So yeah, I guess we deserve to take a short break, a proper break, one which will allow us to rest the mind. And yeah, let's see. Can we try to read someone? I will probably that will be a better way to end this than just just to leave, no? So yeah, let me let me do it like this. Oh, finishing this stream with a red thing, yeah. As always, meanwhile, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, thanks for lurking, thanks for watching the war, thanks for everything. It's a pleasure to do this, and we will see how it all goes next time. So far, we pretty much finished the reading session of the week almost, so there is nothing more to worry about having to read today in particular, and we will see what ends up being of us in the next one. But yeah, very nice. I feel like so. Yeah, we, as I declared, we're going to raid this case Seth Hatun, who is doing a Zeldathon, as in playing in a marathon style, a lot of Zelda games. So yeah, this is quite nice. Also, what's up? Was the raid created? Why can't I see that? What's going on with that? I can see the raid. What's up? Is there a raid or is there no raid? What's going on? You know? Which did I make the raid or not? Can I see that? Raid? Oh, yeah. What's going on with this? The fuck is going on? But yeah, anyways, as always, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, thanks for everything. Get off yourself. Have a nice one. Rest, hydrate, stretch, everything. But we can, we're getting back here. And if we don't, at the very least, we are having a night. So, anyways, thanks for everything. Now, as I said, reading Zeb Wiz and doing Zelda streams. So, yeah, have a nice one, people. Goodbye. Until the next one. And if we don't get to see each other, at least we'll show you whatever happened today. Bye bye.